Hi, I'm Melissa Evans Smith, 28 years old and thriving as a marketing executive in the Big Apple. But getting here, that was a battle. It all began when I was just 5 years old. My world shattered the day my parents died in a car crash. Just like that, I was an orphan. Soon after, I was sent to live with my Aunt Patricia, Uncle Robert, and their daughter, Brittany, who was my age. At first, they seemed like a perfect new family. "Welcome home, sweetheart," Aunt Patricia said, hugging me tightly. "You're safe now." As I grew up, people started noticing my looks. Teachers, friends, even strangers would say, "My, aren't you a beautiful little thing?" At the time, I didn't think much of it, but Aunt Patricia's smile would always tighten a little when she heard it. Brittany and I were complete opposites. School came easily to me, and I made friends without much effort. Brittany, however, struggled. "How come you always get A's?" she whined one day. I tried to help, but Aunt Patricia would swoop in, reassuring Brittany, "Don't worry, sweetie, you're perfect just the way you are." That's when things changed. Aunt Patricia started treating me differently. It was subtle at first, forgetting to praise me, skipping my dessert. But it grew worse. One day, after acing a big test, I ran home, excited. "Aunt Patricia, I got the highest score in class." She barely glanced up from her magazine. "That's nice, dear." "Brittany, how was your day?" I stood there, feeling invisible, my report card clutched in my hand. Uncle Robert and Brittany didn't seem to notice any of this. To them, everything seemed normal. But Aunt Patricia's behavior became more obvious. She'd conveniently forget to wash my favorite outfit for picture day or accidentally leave my permission slip unsigned for field trips. "Oh, I'm so sorry, Melissa," she'd say, sounding anything but sorry, had just been so busy with Brittany's things. I was confused and hurt. Why didn't she like me? What had I done wrong? I tried everything, helping around the house, tutoring Brittany, even purposely messing up sometimes so Brittany could shine. Nothing worked. Aunt Patricia only seemed to resent me more. I'd catch her glaring when she thought I wasn't looking, muttering under her breath. One night, I overheard her talking to Uncle Robert. "I just don't know what to do with her," she hissed. "She's too perfect. It's unnatural." Uncle Robert sighed. "Come on, Pat, she's just a kid, our niece." Aunt Patricia snapped. "She's not ours, and the sooner we remember that, the better." I crept back to my room, tears streaming down my face. I finally understood. Aunt Patricia was jealous. Jealous of me, a kid. By the time I reached my teenage years, Aunt Patricia couldn't even pretend to like me anymore. The real turning point came with my sweet 16. I'd been saving up for months from my part-time job at the mall, planning a party with my friends. "Aunt Patricia, can I have some friends over for my birthday next week?" I asked, excited. She looked at me like I asked for the moon. "Oh, I don't know, Melissa. That's such short notice." "But I've been talking about it for months." I protested. She waved me off. "We already have plans that weekend." My sweet 16 ended up being a low-key movie night with 2 friends. The following month, Brittany got a surprise party, complete with decorations and a guest list of 20. Coincidence? I think not. Brittany, who was turning into a mini Patricia, wasn't much better. One day, I overheard her talking to her friends at school. "My cousin is such a try-hard," she sneered. "Like, we get it, you're smart, stop rubbing it in." That stung. Later, I confronted her. "Britt, what's your problem with me?" She rolled her eyes. "Don't be so sensitive. I was just joking." But it wasn't a joke. From then on, Brittany and Aunt Patricia became a united front against me. Things escalated. One afternoon, I came home early and overheard Aunt Patricia on the phone. "I'm at my wit's end with Melissa. She's always showing off, making Brittany feel bad. I don't know how much longer I can take this." I was floored. I'd never intentionally shown off or tried to make Brittany feel bad. Was this really how they saw me? The final blow came on prom night. I'd saved up for months to buy a stunning blue dress. But the night before, when I went to try it on one last time, I found a giant bleach stain right on the front. "Oh no," Aunt Patricia gasped, a little too dramatically. "How did that happen? You must have spilled something on it." I knew I hadn't. But what could I say? I ended up wearing one of Brittany's old dresses, feeling like a total outsider at my own prom. A week later, my boyfriend Jake broke up with me completely out of the blue. "I just can't be with someone who cheats on me," he said. "What? I never cheated on you." I protested, shocked. That's not what I heard, he continued. Your aunt told my mom you were seeing that guy from your math class. I was speechless. Aunt Patricia had lied to break us up. But the final straw came with my NYU application. I had worked so hard on it, triple checking every detail. But when I went to mail it, it was gone. Are you sure you filled it out? Aunt Patricia asked, feigning innocence. Maybe you just thought you did. That was when I snapped. I know what you're doing. I yelled. Why do you hate me so much? She looked at me with mock shock. Hate you? Don't be ridiculous. I've given you a home, raised you like my own. How dare you accuse me of such things? I turned to Uncle Robert, hoping for some backup, but he just shook his head. Now, Melissa, I'm sure you're just misunderstanding things. Your aunt loves you. But I knew the truth. From that moment on, I started keeping records, notes, recordings, photos, anything I could to prove that I wasn't crazy. It was clear, in that house, I was on my own. On graduation day, I stood at the podium, valedictorian sash across my chest, looking out at the crowd. Most of the faces were filled with pride, except Aunt Patricia's. She looked like she swallowed a lemon. As we embark on this new chapter of our lives, I said confidently, remember that adversity breeds resilience. We are not defined by our circumstances, but by how we rise above them. I caught Aunt Patricia's eye. She knew I was talking about her. After the ceremony, my guidance counselor pulled me aside. Melissa, there's been a mix-up with your scholarship interview. It's been rescheduled for tomorrow morning. My heart sank. But I'm not ready, I said, feeling panic set in. You've got this, she assured me. Don't let anyone tell you otherwise. The next morning, I arrived at NYU, only to find out my interview had been canceled. By accident, they said. But I knew better. It had Aunt Patricia written all over it. Still, I wasn't giving up that easily. There must be some mistake. I pleaded with the receptionist. Please, I've come all this way. Can't someone see me? Long story short, I got my interview and nailed it. Full ride to NYU, baby. When I got home, though, something was off. The house was too quiet. I opened my bedroom door and found chaos. My clothes were ripped, my photos shredded. Everything was destroyed. What happened? I gasped. Brittany appeared in the doorway, eyes blazing with fury. How does it feel to lose something for once? I was stunned. This wasn't just jealousy anymore. This was vandalism. As I started cleaning up the mess, I found an old black box I'd never seen before. Inside were documents, letters, and a trust fund in my name. My parents had left me money, a lot of money, and I had never known. Aunt Patricia burst in. What are you doing with that? Give it here. No, I said firmly, clutching the box. This is mine. Her face twisted in anger. You ungrateful little, after everything we've done for you. I stood my ground. I'm calling the lawyer listed here. This money is rightfully mine. She lunged for the box, but I dodged. You can't. We need that money. Your uncle's business is none of my concern. I finished, determined. The next day, I met with my parents' lawyer in secret. He confirmed everything. The money was mine, no strings attached. When I got home, all hell broke loose. You sneaky little thief, Aunt Patricia screeched. After everything we've done for you. Uncle Robert tried to calm her down. Pat, what are you talking about? That's when I let it all out. Years of abuse, manipulation, sabotage. Uncle Robert's face shifted from disbelief to shock to anger. Is this true, Patricia? He demanded. Her silence said it all. 2 weeks later, I was packing my bags for NYU. As I loaded up my car, Brittany watched from the window, her expression unreadable. Aunt Patricia was nowhere to be seen. Uncle Robert helped with the last box. I'm so sorry, Melissa. I had no idea. I nodded, not trusting myself to speak. You're always welcome here, he said quietly. This is still your home. But I knew it never really had been. As I drove away from that house, I knew the truth. It had never been my home. My real life was just beginning. The next 4 years flew by in a blur of classes, internships, and newfound freedom. I graduated from NYU with honors and landed an incredible job at a top marketing firm. For the first time in my life, I felt like I was exactly where I was meant to be. To Melissa, my friends cheered, raising their glasses at our favorite bar. Marketing maven and all-around badass. I grinned, feeling truly happy. These people, my chosen family, had been my rock through college and beyond. Life was good. But then, one day, I got a strange call from Uncle Robert. "Melissa, I need your help," he said, his voice tight. "It's about the business. And your aunt." Turns out, Aunt Patricia had been cooking the books for years, embezzling thousands from Uncle Robert's company. Now the IRS was closing in. "I don't know what to do," Uncle Robert said, sounding defeated. I sighed. I didn't owe them anything, but I couldn't let Uncle Robert go down for Aunt Patricia's crimes, so I made some calls, tipping off a friend at the IRS, anonymously, of course. A few weeks later, everything came crashing down. Aunt Patricia was arrested, the company was under investigation, and Uncle Robert filed for divorce. In the middle of it all, I got a text from an unknown number. "Mel, it's Britt. I messed up. I need help." Brittany had fallen in with a bad crowd and developed a drug problem. Part of me wanted to ignore it, but I texted back, "I can't be there for you, but I'll pay for rehab. Take it or leave it." She took it. Meanwhile, my career was skyrocketing. I had just been promoted to executive level when I got another call from Uncle Robert. "Your aunt wants to talk to you," he said. "She's not doing well." Against my better judgment, I agreed to meet her. Aunt Patricia looked older, defeated. "Melissa, I'm so sorry," she said, tears in her eyes. "I was jealous and cruel. Can you ever forgive me?" I took a deep breath. "No." Her face crumpled. "Please, I have nothing left. I need your help." "Like you helped me?" I asked coldly. "I don't owe you anything." As I stood to leave, she grabbed my arm. "You can't just leave me like this." I pulled away. "Watch me." Walking out of that prison, I felt a weight lift off my shoulders. I was done living in the shadow of Aunt Patricia's jealousy. A year later, I started the Evan Smith Foundation, dedicated to helping kids who had been through similar situations. At our first fundraiser, I stood at the podium, looking out at a sea of faces. "We are not defined by what happens to us," I said, "but by how we rise above it. Together, we can turn pain into purpose." As applause filled the room, I smiled. This was my real legacy, not just surviving, but thriving and helping others do the same. So what would you have done in my shoes? Would you have forgiven Aunt Patricia or stood your ground like I did? I'd love to hear your thoughts on my story. Have you ever dealt with toxic family members? Your experiences and opinions matter. Share them in the comments below.